recent #EndSARS protests in Lagos and a number of states in the southern parts of Nigeria became a subject of political manipulation when certain interests in the north began to make pronouncements about it being a decoy attempt to sabotage and topple the Buhari government. They didn't stop at that, but went further to issue countless threats against anyone who dared to bring the EndSARS protests to the streets of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. That interplay of forces might have added a different layer to the already troubled conversation on how to build a nation worthy of emulation by the international community. Joining us now to examine all possible angles to this is Shittu Mohammed, the chairman of the National Interest Forum, an organization committed to promoting national unity and integration, a youth activist, and presidential candidate of the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance during the 2019 general election. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Shittu Mohammed, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Good to have you on the program. Well, very quickly, what do you make?
Brother.
What do you make of the EndSARS protests in the southern part of the country and the hashtag ending security now in the northern part of the country? And what do you think accounts for that difference? In the north, the governors and the Youth Alliance group, they were saying they want SARS and that they do not want SARS disbanded. And then quickly, events in the last 2 weeks moved beyond that, with certain northerners saying, oh, this is an attack on the fact that a northerner is president of Nigeria. And some people even twisted it a little further. But what's your own observation? What do you think actually went wrong across the country?
Good morning, Nigerian, my brother Abati. Good morning. You have been there before. You are in the Aso Rock, and you know the politics of Aso Rock. And you know that in Nigeria, there are insurgencies in the north, and there is kidnapping in the north, and there are a lot of that going on now. And you look at the north, if you ask some people what is SARS, we don't even know what is SARS. What we know is that the police fighting insurgents and fighting crimes. And then in the south, probably because of the issue around them, they know much about SARS. But all what this country needs is security. Both north and south, we need security. And it's security that has brought EndSARS. And nobody is blaming EndSARS for their noble objective. Nobody is blaming them. The North are not blaming them, and the South are not blaming them. And for us, we don't even want to start the issue of North and South. National interest should be the bane of our thinking. We should start thinking of the country, not what divides us, but what unites us. That is what we want to urge Nigerians to do. From the EndSARS, we have seen how united Nigerians can be. And the simple example of that is when somebody put up a video message to say that the Easterners should leave, the Igbo should leave Lagos. You can see the reaction of both the North and Southern elites to say, no, nobody should live anywhere. That has united us. And you can see even in the EndSARS protest, where the same ground where the Muslims pray on Friday, the same ground the Christians pray on Sunday. That embodies us, and that makes us to be very, very, very happy. And to know today that Nigeria has gone beyond North and South. Nigeria is now talking of unity, of purpose. And what is that purpose that Nigeria needs now? We are now moving from ethnicity and religion to economic development. And that is the focus of national interest. How do we marry the interest of both sides and make sure that we put food in the table of our Nigerians? One, we have to start going beyond what brought EndSARS is nothing but the issue of poverty and unemployment. And we as leaders of the country and youth must come together to now provide a solution to how we solve this problem. And the only way we can solve this problem is for us to go to that thing that God gives to us. God has given us freely. We are green land. Anywhere you touch, you can plant anything anywhere in Nigeria. Therefore, we should now put a roadmap with which we take the youth and unemployed out of the city, and then be able to now look at our rural area as a base for development, rather than allowing miscreants to get into this our forest and then start kidnapping, killing, and then various activities taking place. That is where we should focus our mind now. How do we create employment opportunity, and how do we reduce poverty? Is the bane of why we come on board to say, look, let's go beyond NSAS. Let's go beyond what has happened. Let's heal the wound, but let's now provide solution. And for us, we believe that the only solution is to go to green, as I said, and how do we go back is to say agriculture is the bane, what God has given us as gift. We have both aquatic resources, we have agricultural resources, and we have mineral resources. And we now look at 774 local governments that we have and say, look, each local government, either you have aquatic resources, we want you to bring it out. Either you have one agricultural resources that can be exportable, bring it out. Either you have solid mineral that you know is exportable. And then, first of all, we urge Mr. President to bring up legislation, an executive order, and then later to legislation, to ban exportation of any of our raw materials, including our crude oil. Until we do this, we will not have, because African has been a raw material supplier to the other world for decades, for years, millions of years. We are just to export raw material. We export our cocoa, we export our coffee, we export our gum arabic raw, and then we now import back. That value chain has been cut off. So instead of us to cut off that value chain, we take development to these 774 local government, and then be able to give them processing plan for each crop that they have. Look at Maiduguri. If you look at that Chad Basin can feed West African with wheat. So we don't have business of importing flour for us to cook our bread. We don't have business for us. There also in Maiduguri, there you can also bring processing plant for gum arabic and clear this Sambisa forest that we are clearing about. Our military can clear it, and we put gum arabic. Gum arabic is more expensive than crude oil. We can now put processing plant. The value chain will take the millions of youth out of street in Maiduguri, come back to Ore forest in the west here. In the Ore west, clear Ore forest, put coffee or cocoa there, plant the cocoa or coffee plantation in that area. You see that that area will take off and put processing plant, not for us to export the raw. We put processing plant around Ore there, and you find that coffee, cocoa, and other things would be processing around there. It will boost our market, our exportation, and it will take the youth out of. Get to Owerri, to Imo. You have Adapam in Bayelsa State, where I was the chairman of cattle ranch, where we breed our cattle under this thing there. If you get to Bayelsa, Imo, Abia, this area are suitable for palm or oil production. Put processing plant around there. It will take the youth out of the street. Because when you are processing, then you are put a value chain. You take from the plantation, take to the storage, take to the transportation, take to the market. It's a long chain. And then if you are exporting, you take again for export. And you see that the state start earning money. What we need in this country is for us to do economic restructure.
Thank
when
you.
You are talking of restructuring, that brought me
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just thank you for that detailed roadmap, which really highlights the inherent strengths of each of the 6 geopolitical zones. And yet you mentioned that word restructuring. Whenever that word or that argument is advanced, it's perceived as an attack on the presidency and an attack on the Buhari administration. Same as the NSAS movement, it was perceived as an attempt to sabotage the government, which it clearly was not. I'd like you to address this climate of suspicion and this knee-jerk rejection of any form of dissent that we're currently witnessing in our democracy.
The suspicion are just imagination. There is no suspicion anywhere. It's just an imagination of some people. You should know that there are people that they are pro-disintegration. There are people that are for Nigeria. There are people that believe that until we go apart. But we want what we need in this country when you are talking of restructuring or devotion of power is to look at our concurrent list and look at our exclusive list and then take out of both and look at where in the exclusive list, especially the issue of power, especially the issue of railway, especially of the federal road, allow state to look to take into the even local government should be able to build rail between one farm to another, to a processing center, and between processing center to the boundary of another local government. Another local government will take it from there. This federal road we call federal road. State can start constructing federal road to the boundary of their state. Another state will take it from there, put toll gate, make money for the... There are areas that we must look at economically that will... because now we are making, I want to come before I go, we are making a greater mistake of this sharing 30,000, 50,000, calling youth. Do we have the roadmap? The only way we can go is for us to put processing plant every place and be able to start kick off our economic development. Because if we don't do that, after sharing money for 2-3 years, when you say put vocational center, yes, when you put vocational center and you train them, where do they work? Therefore, we must industrialize Nigeria. And from industrialization, we now realize that we have a potential country. And nobody will be able to say we should disintegrate. Because togetherness, with 200 million population, we should be thanking God. Because 200 million is a market, big market force that we must be proud to belong to. Nigeria is indivisible, and Nigerian, it has been settled by the Constitution that we are indivisible, and we must find a way of living together. And we have gone above that. NSAS are teachers that we have gone above division of the country. We are now to talk about economic development.
If you can hear me, all the things you said are quite good. I mean, I know about gum arabic, mostly used in fizzy drinks. All the big fizzy drink companies in the world use gum arabic. Spend millions and millions of naira on it. Great thing you've talked about in agriculture. But I want to ask you a question. Why has all of this not been done? I mean, you're close to government. You've advised them. Why have all of this not been done up till now? Why is it that it's now that we're just waking up to all of the things you said? Why has nothing been done as regards all of this?
Yes, there are times in human life. In the 60s, we were battling about how the country will not divide. In the 70s, we had the militaries coming to the 80s. And by the 80s, the military put up some good blueprint, which you see Abacha 2015, you see Yaradua 2020 vision. We could not key into this because we have been very, very divided. And one thing that we have not taken to cognizance is that our reward was based on who and where you come from. Now we must start to say our reward should be on merit. If you are from anywhere and you merit it, and you can take this country out of wool, you can be the master of technological advancement, you can...
Well, Alhaji
So
Shittu.
therefore,
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. Here, okay. Now, if merit is the bane of our reward, you find out that the best will always emerge. Not because it's Yoruba, not because it's Hausa, not because it's Igbo, but because he merited. And therefore, if we start from there, you will find out that Nigeria will be better. Before, yes, but we know what we've been battling for. We battled in the 90s to get off military district. By 1999, we got the civilian. 21 years down the democratic space, we've been battling on one area of amendment or the other. Now, we have come to a state that COVID-19, nobody expected. It has come. It's teaching us a greater lesson. It has taught us a lesson, and it's teaching us a greater lesson. A lesson that you are trying to keep money out of your country, it's time for you to now bring that money back. You are trying to see that you build house outside Nigeria, you have now to come back and build your house here, because you don't know what is coming. Maybe it's greater than COVID. So therefore, we must now look at China was far, far, far below where we were in the 60s. In fact, I think we are better than China. We even, I think at a time, we were able to even give them $10 million. But today, China becomes second largest economy because a leader came who said enough is enough, which is Chairman Mao, before you have the Deng who built their economy. And you can see their 50-year rolling plan. When it matured in 2010, they became second largest economy. So Nigerian too can be, because China was also like this. They were divisive, tribal, religious, until they come and say, no, we must think of China first. Now, Nigeria must think of Nigerian first, before anything, before religion, before whatever. You must think that, yes, Nigerian first in my mind. And the good as the Nigerian, your great-grandchildren will be here. You don't want to see your children going outside country and becoming second class or slaves, where they go to farm. Those farms that they go and work, let us do it here. Let the government also bring a deliberate policy with which to find a way that we don't export our raw material, as I earlier said, especially even the crude oil. We must find a way to do that, because these are value chain that has put our children on the street. And today, you are having, out of 60 million youths, you are having over 33 million youth on the street that have no job, has no future. We must create those jobs for them. So the country is to be the first in our mind.
Well, you're very correct, Alhaji Shittu Mohammed. Nigeria first. I like that phrase. There was a campaign around that a few years ago. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show today.